Hello everybody, welcome back to another new episode of Translating Love with me, Woifi.
And Dani.
And you might think Dani is short for Daniel or Dorian.
Or Fartface.
Or Fartface McGee, but no, it's Danielle actually, so you are mistaken.
And you might think that Woifi is short for Pansy, and you would be right. It is.
It's actually not. Woifi is short for Gray Hound Dog. So we are back with a new episode. We are still in quarantine or like in lockdown mode.
Yeah, as of now, what is the date today? As we record this, it is March 30th.
I have no idea how long.
By the time this episode is out there, maybe it's over, but I don't know.
It won't be.
I don't think so.
But
we're in week 2, right?
Week 3.
Nah, week 2. We started a little earlier, but officially,
yeah,
week 2. But we started, I think, a week earlier.
Yeah, days are blending in already, and you have no idea what day it is, and you slowly start talking to things that don't talk back, like the toilet seat. Or
sometimes I walk into the bathroom and I hear him talking. I'm like, who are you talking to? And I go in there and he's like lifting up the toilet seat, lifting and lowering it to make it look like it's talking back to him. Right. It's quite interesting.
It's soothing. So today, what is the topic today?
I mean, we don't have a massive plan for this episode, but
I actually have no plan.
We have kind of no plan. I thought it would be interesting to get both our opinion, but also I posed the question to the Instagram world, and I asked 2 different questions. I asked, what does marriage mean to you? And I posed it to single people, to people in a marriage, to people in a relationship, doesn't matter. And also, what do you think changes after marriage, if anything? And I got some really interesting answers. So I thought it would be fun to talk about.
Well, maybe let's talk about our opinion on marriage, because I think we also have different opinions on it. And yeah, let's start. What is your opinion on marriage? And
what do you mean opinion?
Yeah,
on marriage?
what is marriage to you? What does it mean to you? And how do you like?
So basically, the questions I
basically
asked,
what
my answers would be.
Yeah, in a nutshell. But you can like open up a little bit more.
To me, marriage is, I think it's a really hard thing to put into words what it means to you. I think that, so my own question is kind of a hard question to ask. But I think that being married to somebody or saying you want to marry somebody shows devotion. It shows that, like, to me, it's not just a piece of paper. To me, it means something really special, because you are telling this person and you're telling your family and your friends and anyone else out there that out of all the people you could be with, that this is the person you want to be with for hopefully the rest of your lives together. And I think that's it's not nothing, you know?
I mean, that's basically the original meaning of being married, like also the religious meaning of being married. You basically bind yourself to the one person until you die.
Yeah.
And as the religious thing or the religious saying is, until death part you.
Until death do us part.
Yeah, right. Which I don't like. And I also don't like the religious meaning of it. And I also don't like the...
Yeah, but we can go into that.
Overall meaning of it. Like being bound to someone until you die. I think that's kind of bullshit in the sense that... I mean, in the original sense that you're not allowed to get a divorce because divorce is a bad thing. And once you commit to a marriage, you stay in that marriage.
Yeah, but that's not what I said.
No, but that's what I don't like.
It means to me.
Sure, but that's what I don't like about it.
It doesn't mean that to me.
That's what I don't like about it, like the original thing. And
to me, it means that you don't... I mean, obviously, you want to be with this person forever. That's what you're saying when you ask somebody to marry you.
Yeah.
And whether that means that you actually will, or that you're just, the gesture is that I want to be with this person and I will do whatever it takes to make this relationship work.
Yeah.
That's marriage to me.
And that's pretty cool. And I think that's why I got married to you. But
You think?
no, I mean, I'm sure. You can bind yourself to someone or be in a relationship and commit on the same level to that relationship as
Sure, you can.
as like a marriage. And I think that's what a lot of people our age and I think and a lot of people will do in the future, because marriage is something that is not super common anymore, or at least up to a certain age. You don't get married and then get married and then you get children, and then like the traditional stuff that our parents did, at least here in Austria, is that you get married and then you get children and then you buy a house or build a house or whatever. And nowadays it's like kind of different. So you commit to a relationship and then you maybe get pregnant, you get a kid or two kids. And then some people decide, okay, we still want to more or less get married, but more as a I don't even know how to say it, more as like a sign, or more as like a, I don't know, like, okay, this is like our last thing that we will do in this relationship because we're already committed to each other. We love each other, but it's more like a gesture, or like as you said, we show other people, okay, we're totally in it, and we celebrate our relationship.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's more of a celebration of the love that you share with this person.
And that's how I see marriage. And that's
also
the only
here,
thing.
it's different because that's not common in the US for people to, even now, I don't think, for people to be together, have kids, and then get married. That's still not the that's still not the common thing. The common thing is still getting married and then having kids.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's traditional. That's how people do it.
Because
that was a really interesting thing for me here when I moved here, and I saw, oh wow, like even when I would go, when I was an au pair, one of the families that I worked for, I would see pictures in their house from their wedding, and two of their kids are in it, and it's just really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a thing here.
I think a big part for that is the religious connection to marriage, but then also the divorce rate, and also I don't need to get married anymore because I'm already committed to that woman. I love her. I have kids with her. We have a house. Blah blah. That's not a. It's a really nice thing to do, and I think that's why we did it, or that's why I did it, because I'm coming from a family of divorced parents.
I mean, me too.
You too. But I had always, since my parents had fights and got divorced, I always had this mindset that I'm never going to be married. I'm never going to marry anyone, because I saw how the divorce put like this massive gap in our family, not only direct family, but also uncles, aunts, and all of that, and also the financial troubles and the legal troubles. And that's why I never wanted to get married.
The interesting thing about that, and I totally understand that point of view, because I think a lot of people have that point of view when they've been through a divorce with their family.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is what would change if, say we didn't get married, but we kept the life together, we stayed together, we had kids together, all of that, and then at some point the relationship falls apart. It's the same outcome. It's the same thing. Divorce is the piece of paper that says you're legally no longer bound to each other. But that's kind of the whole thing that you were saying, that if the marriage paper doesn't matter, and then why does the divorce one matter?
No, I know.
Like it wouldn't change anything. No, I know. Unless your opinion was, I never want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have a long-term relationship. I mean, otherwise, that's all the same outcome.
No, but I think if you look at that, if you compare being a breakup with someone or getting divorced from someone, I think the stigma that comes along with that term alone is so massive in this society.
Sure, but if you have children, it's going to be the same stigma.
No, sure,
whether or not you're married or
but still, I think that's a big part why I thought I'd never want to go, when I never want to be married to someone, because I never wanted to be divorced. And I think that was the reason. It was not being married, but it was more like I never want to go through a divorce. I never want to go through that and also be divorced. That was my whole thing. But then in the end, I mean, I was 15 and and I had this mindset for a long time. For many reasons, mostly because I never found someone who I thought, okay, I could totally see myself being married to the person. So that alone is, I think, a big thing. And getting married should also be something that you both want. And
Sure.
I mean, we talked about this, do because it feels right and you want to celebrate your love and your relationship, but and not, hey, this is the next logical step in this relationship.
Mm-hmm. In like a summary, what does it mean to you to be married? Like because if you had this theory when you were 15 or this feeling when you were 15 to you wanted to marry me, what was it for you about me that made you feel like, oh, I could, like, that changed that for you? And what does marriage mean to you?
Mostly your money, actually, because
the $0 that I came here with.
I thought, oh my God, if she dies, I inherit this huge sum of money.
And the 400 euros I made every month as an au pair for the first year.
Right. I mean,
ka-ching!
I don't know. I think the how our relationship felt and how it felt being with you, and still feels, that was the big reason.
And that's something you didn't feel with anyone else, that you...
It either was too young, naive, or too unexperienced, or the relationship didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the thing is, once we started dating and once we started to be more open with each other and stuff like that, I could see myself being married to you. I could see myself having kids, and I've never had that with someone else. So that was the big change for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
Shut up. So let's go into the question and let's look at the answers of people, because I think that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. So the first question, I'm not going to name any names. And also I wanted to say this before I read any of the answers that I got, I won't say names of who sent it, but I also, if we have a different opinion than what the answer is, I want to make it very, 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 very clear that we don't want to make anyone feel bad. Yeah. We don't want anyone to feel like their opinion is stupid or wrong yeah. because it's not. We have different opinions and ideals of what marriage is, and you also do. And yeah. And that's okay.
But let's look into it. I'm really excited.
Okay.
So thank you, by the way, for contributing, because we really want to do that more often to get more opinions. And you can, again, go to our Anchor page and you can send us questions. You can send us opinions. You can send us anything and basically record your message and we can put it into our podcast.
So one answer to what does marriage mean to you? One answer is having a partner in all things. I think that's very nice.
That's a cool thing. And I can see that right now, being married to you and being stuck here in this quarantine. Mm-hmm. I'm so appreciative of that, because I'm seeing a lot of other friends who are having girlfriends, but they can't be with them because they either mm-hmm. are not living with them or stuff like that. So going back and forth right now is really hard. So mm-hmm. I like that.
And just in general, I mean, you have a partner in everything. You have a partner when things are going really well. You have a partner when things are going really shitty. You have a partner when you personally are in a bad space or when your partner is in a bad space. Yeah. And you share all of those things together in a lot of ways. And it's kind of beautiful.
You share a toilet. Yeah. You share the toilet water. You share
the toilet water tea.
You share the toilet paper, and you basically clean your asses with the same toilet paper. That's nice. That means a lot.
Just to be clear, we're not sharing the same sheets of toilet paper.
No, but the roll, the same roll,
anuses.
The same roll.
Anuses,
obviously.
Ani. Okay. Anyways, we're ruining the nice things that people say. Okay, so another one. For me, it means forever, no matter how tough times can get.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. I mean, that basically underlines the thing we said with the being committed to each other and working towards a better relationship until or unless the partner or you are not feeling happy for whatever reason anymore.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that I would disagree with that answer. Is just that, I mean, forever, I think I would say is the intention. Mm. And I wouldn't say that if you're not happy that you can't leave because you're married and you're bound to this person. Yeah. Especially, I mean, you never know, there's abusive relationships and there's just cheating, relationships that don't work. And right. I mean, I speak from experience. I'm technically a divorced woman.
What?
What?
I did not know that.
And sure, it's not easy, but I didn't let it define me, and I think a lot of people let it define who they are. And honestly, it sucked at first because there is that stigma around it, and people give you shit. I lost a lot of friends. Some family doesn't talk to me anymore because of exactly those religious reasons and stuff. Yeah. But truth is, if you put in the work to try to make it work and the other person is not interested in doing the same, you can only do that for so long before you're ruining your own happiness.
Yeah.
And that was my situation. And
so always put happiness before everything else.
Put your happiness exactly before anything else, and talk about the big things before you get married.
Yeah. But I like that answer.
I do too. One person said that's a deep question, one that I don't think I can answer through a message.
Yeah, it's a deep question.
It is a deep question. It's hard to answer. This one is really fascinating to me. This answer is documentation. And
yeah.
I mean, but marriage is a piece of paper, but at the same time, it's not. I mean, I still have that idea in my head that marriage is not, sure, it's a piece of paper. Legally, when you get married, you can't get married without this piece of paper that is signed that says you're married. Otherwise, it's not legal.
But I totally agree, because some people have different opinions, and I had that same opinion, and 10 years ago, I would have said the same. So
yeah, but I also think it's a mindset. I mean, it's both. I think it's
if
both.
you meet the right person and it fits, why not?
Yeah.
If you haven't met, or you haven't committed to someone that deep on a level, then no. And even if you get married because it's the right next step and you love each other, but you can still see us as a documentation. That's just, and to be honest, being married brings a lot of perks. It's not only a sign of love, but you get a lot of things out of it.
I mean, we can talk about that too with the second question. Yeah. But one more answer to the first question is officially committing to a person and everything that comes with him or her. And I really like that answer too.
Yeah. I mean, that basically sums up what we talked already about it. Yeah. There are more answers. We can't go through everyone, but thank you for submitting them. We really appreciate it.
So the next question is, what do you think changes after marriage, if anything? And I'm going to let you answer that one first.
I mean, nothing, to be honest. You get some perks out of it. For example, we have the situation that we need a visa, either you or I, depends on which country we are staying. So that makes it easier. But everything else doesn't really change. You get a really nice party. You get a really nice celebration and some nice pictures and memories. But that's all it is, to be honest. It's nice. It feels nice being married. but nothing changes.
No, and that's the thing. I agree. It sounds so weird, but I think that there's a lot of people who think that when they get married, so much changes. Like how they feel about the person. I think that's the expectation. Really? And maybe that's because of movies. Maybe it's because of, there are people who, and I was like this too.
Stupid.
But I have the experience as a divorced woman. So going into my second marriage.
I wonder how the third one will feel for you.
Oh, that's nice. Wow. But I don't know. I think there are some people, because I was one of them, that thinks that you feel something different when you get married.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an outrageous thing to think, but at the same time, what else? What should you feel? I mean, sure, it's joy. I feel pure joy. On the day that we got married was the happiest day of my life.
It's awesome.
And I've never felt so happy in one moment.
Yeah. The whole day was just fucking awesome, and the memory is still great.
And so that, sure, I think you have all this joy, and you're surrounded by so much love, and it's overwhelming how wonderful it is. But in terms of the relationship itself, nothing changes. If you're with this person, I could see it if you've never lived with them before, because there are some people who get engaged and they're not living together.
Don't do that.
I mean, if you've listened to our episode Living Together, definitely live together before you get married.
Yeah.
But there are some people who can't because of their religion, because of, all of those reasons. And so sure, then things change. That's different.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have sex before you get married.
Let me tell you, you will have some cool things to look ahead to.
But that's also that. Sure, that changes too. So, but that was not the case for us.
Yeah.
But
what? I didn't have sex before I got married.
We never had sex. We never had sex before we got married.
No, how did you?
If it wasn't with you, then I'm not sure who was in bed with me.
I'm hearing about this the first time.
This is ridiculous.
Let's.
Yeah, but other than, I mean, nothing really changes.
No.
The way I feel about you is the same.
Yeah.
I love you more every day, even when I don't like you that much. And, yeah.
Let's look at the answers.
So some of the answers we got to that question are... one answer is nothing except people asking when you're going to have kids as though it's given you will. That one drives me insane.
I mean, that's, with the right family members, that's the question that you get all the time.
Yeah, the person that wrote that comment, she and I were talking afterwards, and it's one of those things where I think it's perfectly, and she agrees, it's perfectly acceptable if you're really close friends with somebody, if you're family with somebody, to ask if a couple wants children. Yeah. That I think is perfectly acceptable. However, I do not believe it is okay to say when are you going to have kids or make any sort of expectations that assume that this couple is going to have children and it needs to be done within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
I think that's extremely rude. It's very personal and it's uncomfortable because there is no timeline. You do it if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't. And if you do it when you're ready. Don't rush things like that. So I don't like when people ask that. So if you're one of those people that ask that, please stop. Because it's rude.
I couldn't care less, but...
You don't care if people say, when are you going to have children?
It's a stupid question.
When are you going to give me grandkids? When are you going to...
I don't care about that.
That really bothers me.
The thing is, I don't care. I don't give a shit what people think and say, so...
It's not so much that, but there are some people who ask things like, jokingly, and I'm sure they mean well, but they ask things like, oh, when are you due? Or when are you... Because there's other people in the family who are expecting, and so then it's like when we all get together as a family, they're talking about that, and then they turn to us and they say, oh, when are you having your baby? Yeah. And I just don't like that. I don't like it. We want children, but all in due time. So, what was the question? What changes after marriage? Relationships, friendships with others.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
No, I don't agree.
Why don't you agree?
Why does it change by getting married? How? I don't agree.
I mean, with marriage, I don't agree. I think with kids, that'll be a little different.
Yeah.
But
I mean, sure, it could be if you really move, then...
Sure.
Or if you move in together for the first time, sure, then a lot of things change. But other than that, just by getting married, nothing changes, I think. Or at least in my experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The relationship itself, I'm not super giddy anymore, but the love and understanding is deeper. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, that also depends on the circumstances, I think. But yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
I mean, it's like that whole butterfly thing. We were talking about this the other day where it's like the honeymoon phase. A lot of people call the honeymoon phase the phase after you get married. But I think the honeymoon phase is the first part of your relationship. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is a reference. And I've just all of these years been misinterpreting it. But I don't know. I think that the butterfly phase and all of that giddiness is in the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the point where you say, let's get married, that's still... I mean, I had butterflies on our wedding day. But
yeah. Is there another one?
But I do want to just say in also with that one that I agree so much that the love and understanding is deeper because you learn with each other every single day. You grow with each other every single day. And I don't think that's specific to marriage. I think it's just the longer you're together with somebody, the more deeper of an understanding you have with each other.
Yeah.
The last answer is maybe the mindset, more we and less I.
But I think that's the same. The longer you're together, the more committed you to each other, the more integrated you're in each other's lives. You tend to say more we than I, which is a nice thing. It can also be a little bit annoying if you are, if you want to do things on your own, if you want to have your own life, so to say, still. But I mean, we talked about this. You just need to make room, and you need to talk about that stuff. But other than that, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that that's marriage specific, but relationship specific.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for those answers.
Yeah.
If you like that, if you like to do it, please let us know somehow. Just inform us either here on Anchor or text us on our social media and just let us know, because we might do that more often.
I think it's a fun way to do an episode because it gives us some more conversation topics and So yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Yeah, so just, I guess, final words. Marriage, recommend or no?
Hell no. I think it totally depends on the person and on the relationship, and
that was more a joke.
Yeah, but I like being married.
Me too.
10 years ago I would have said differently, and in 10 years I might have a different opinion again.
I would just say be open-minded. Keep yourself open to any possible idea, and if you don't want to get married, don't force it. And if you do want to get married, also don't force it, you know?
And also
find the right person, find somebody that you, and there is no, I don't believe at least there's one person for everybody. No. I really don't believe that. So no. I think any relationship is hard work, and marriage, I think, is harder work.
Yeah. And you can celebrate your love in so many ways, and you can basically do a fake wedding where you celebrate the love. I mean, sure, it costs a lot of money, but you don't have to get married to celebrate that love. You can do it in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think just an important note to end on, if there is anyone out there who has this stigma about divorce or being divorced, or what if we get married and then get divorced, it happens. And not every relationship works because we're not perfect.
Yeah.
Human beings are complex creatures, and not every single human being gets along with every other human being. Yep. And you change so much as you grow and as you age, and you can't say I'm going to be with this person forever, but you can say I want to be with this person forever. Just
change your mindset about what divorce means, because divorce basically means I'm worthy of my self-love and my happiness, and I'm putting that in front of everything else.
Exactly. And it doesn't always have to be messy. It doesn't always have to be where you hate each other. Sometimes it is that way, but it doesn't have to be. My parents are a great example of that. Yeah. My parents are really, really close. I would say best friends still.
Yeah.
And so it can work, and no matter what, it will always be okay.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for submitting the questions.
The answers?
Oh, the answers, sorry.
Stupid.
We would, but on that note, we would really, really love if you would send us some questions or some feedback through Anchor, just how we're doing so far. So yeah, and also,
if you don't have Anchor or don't feel like downloading it or going to the website, you can also just text us on social media or wherever. Yeah.
And thank you for listening, and please share. Again, please just share the podcast with anyone you like or not like, or your family members.
Your friends, enemies, and your frenemies.
And also rate it, especially on Apple Podcast or Stitcher, or wherever you were listening. Just rate the podcast. It would help us a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.